Okay, next, how can you be sure if what you're hearing is from God or if it's your own voice or, something else entirely? You can test out, if it's from someone else, what do they believe about Jesus? But for you yourself, what you are hearing will not contradict Scripture. God does not contradict himself. God is not a liar, right? Because if he contradicts himself, he's lying about one of two things, or maybe both things. And God's not a liar. Here's an example from the Old Testament. God is not human that he should lie, not a human being that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? Does he promise and not fulfill? And we see it again in Titus 1. God doesn't lie. We see it in Hebrews 6. God doesn't lie. Old Testament and New Testament, very consistent. So if God speaks to you, he will not tell you something that contradicts the Bible. So if you have something you think God's talking to you in prayer, compare it to Scripture. With me, I know that God says in his word, he's our Redeemer, right? That's what he does. He redeems. He takes old things and makes them new. He takes broken things and he fixes them. For him to say, this is what redemption is, to take something of little value and use it to bless other people in a marvelous way. That's redemption. So I believe that this experience was really me talking with God and God talking to me. All right, if you're still with me, give me a huh. Okay, continuing that thought. If God told me, this is redemption, and by the way, I'm sending Jesus back in 3 weeks, so you better go skydiving real soon or you won't get the chance. Well, I know that's not true, right? I know that can't be from God because I know in Matthew 24, Jesus says no one's going to know the hour. No one's even going to know the day that Jesus comes back. Only God the Father himself. He's not going to tell a human ahead of time. So I know that wouldn't be from God, right? Because no one's going to know when Jesus is coming back. If God told me, hey, this is redemption, and to fulfill my plan for your life, you need people to think you're really smart, and you need to lie to your parents about your history grade so they don't find out you're not doing too well. Well, wait a minute. That's not from God. Exodus 20, the 10 Commandments, we know God says don't lie. Again in the New Testament, not to tell lies. God's not going to contradict himself. So if you're wondering, in those quiet, personal moments when you're listening for God, if what you're hearing is really from God or not, just compare it to Scripture, because God is not going to contradict himself. Does that make sense? You guys with me? Okay.